Hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk about my birth story. Unfortunately, some of my friends were just busy and we couldn't really get together and discuss like all of our birth stories together, but I'll start with mine. So my due date was August 24th, 2017, and he came August 28th, 2017. I was in labor from my due date to birthing him. So what happened was he was still pretty high up even after he dropped. So I was in prodrominal labor, which is real labor, but it's just infrequent and it's just moving him down into the birth canal and all that fun stuff. So that was miserable for that entire 4 days, which felt like a month, let me tell you. Like, I'd get a contraction or 3 here, and then I'd get like 1 here and then like 1 there. It was nuts. So the day before, August 27th, it was just a slow morning and everything was kind of quiet, and I was like, I feel a little funny, like something's gonna happen today. Like I knew something was gonna happen. So, hanging out, just chilling, and I started getting my first contraction. I was supposed to see my mom that day, and she was like, are we still doing something? And I was like, it's just been a quiet morning. Like, I think I'm getting some contractions. And we called the nurse and she was like, well, hang in there, see if they progress. They did. By about like 6 p.m. I was like, I think I was getting them every 5 minutes. So we went to the hospital and they were like, yeah, you're only like 2 centimeters dilated. We're gonna send you home and then come back. So around midnight, I was in the they got real bad. Like, they went sky high, like real contractions I think it was still every 5 minutes, but they were really, really strong and they were lasting a whole minute and a half. I took a shower, tried to like work through them through the shower, and then we left for the hospital. Got to the hospital, I was only 3 centimeters dilated, and they were like, okay, we're gonna pop your water. So they broke my water and they're like, do you want Pitocin? And I said yes, so I got Pitocin, and oh my god. So after that, Pitocin really kicked in and it was like 3, 6, 9, out. Like, it progressed. I think I was in active labor for maybe 14, 15 hours, but it moved really, really fast. I dilated so fast with the Pitocin. So let's backtrack a little bit. But after the Pitocin, it started kicking in, and then around when I got to about 6 centimeters, I asked for an epidural. And this is the worst part of my whole experience giving birth, and it makes me never want to get an epidural ever again. But my anesthesiologist came in, he gave me the epidural, and it only worked on half of my body at first. He was like, all right, we'll lay on your side. It started working, and then it concentrated to this little tiny square about right here. It all concentrated. He comes back in and he was like, well, can you deal with it? And I was having like, those contractions hurt. It was like every minute for a minute hurt, and I was like, no, do it again. And he was like, well, I haven't messed up a contraction in 20 years, or not a contraction, sorry, I haven't messed up an epidural in 20 years. And I was like, well, do it again, you messed up. And he gave me so much attitude, and I still to this day have nerve pain from my epidural on my back, and it sucks, especially when I walk a lot or like do too much intense yoga. It hurts sometimes. Anyway, minus that little hiccup, after I got my epidural, I think I was still in labor for like the rest of the day. It was kind of a blur. I was in and out of a sleep, and sleeping before you came. And then I woke up and I was ready to push. I was done. I was like, I'm getting this baby out. I was 9 centimeters, which isn't the right time to push, let me tell you. So I was trying to push around for that whole hour, and then I fell asleep. I was like, I'm gonna take a nap. Took a nap, woke back up, and it was 1, 2, 3, push, 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 and he was out. It was so fast. It was like the biggest whoosh of my life, and I loved it. Was just all of a sudden he was cleaned up and screaming, and there he was, the little baby of my life. It was a beautiful experience. I had a complete normal vaginal birth. I only had 2 stitches. They called them like this skid marks or something like that. They were really little, which I'm very blessed about. Yeah, so that first night I did send him to the nursery because it was by about midnight by the time we got into the actual room. So I sent him to the nursery and slept and woke up about 8 a.m. and then I got him. And I had a nurse come in and try to help me breastfeed. And it was really difficult, and so I tried breastfeeding. And eventually he latched and we got some of it going, but it was still really hard to deal with. I wish I did see a lactation consultant. I think I could have worked on breastfeeding, but that's not a guilt I'm willing to carry around because fed is best, and I have a 40-pound 2-year-old at this point. So he was super healthy and super happy at this point. Yeah, so that's my birth story. It was a very life-changing and just everything experience, and after that we were parents, and the best experience of my entire life was just about to begin. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you tune in next week when I ask some of my friends about their birth stories and we kind of compare and contrast about what it's like to have a C-section, or what it's like to have or to tear, or more than 2 stitches. These are real life things these are real life questions you want to know, and I'm here to answer them. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe.